70 years ago, something special started. Formula One. Man and machine in perfect unison. Pushing each other to their limits. Supported by teams aiming for that top step.
Well, the name of the game was winning.
Seeking perfection. The road hasn't always been smooth. We've marveled at great moments. Had smiles brought to our faces. Cried with our heroes. Witnessed incredible bravery and terrible sadness. Moments never to be forgotten. For 70 years, this has been their Everest. This is what makes them special. This is the story of Formula One.
Jackie Stewart and Jochen Rindt were, well, for one thing, first off, they were firm friends.
There was a definite human relationship existing in those days that I don't think seems to exist today. We were friends right from the beginning, and Nina and Helen are best friends to this very day. Was never going to win the Mr. World contest.
At school, people were laughing at him about his bent nose, but later on, when he was a Formula One star, it all put together, and he was a character. For an Austrian, you know, motor racing or Formula One racing was like going with a space shuttle, so it was so far away from us.
I think Helmut kind of probably followed Jochen a little bit, but they went to the Nürburgring in '61 to see Wolfgang von Trips.
We arrived in the middle of the night at the circuit, and in the morning we wake up, and then at that time you could hear after 2 or 3 laps if it is a Ferrari, a Ford or BM or whatsoever. Jochen woke up, he said, "That's what I'm going to do."
I saw him in some races, Formula Junior races, when he raced my father. He was pretty wild in those days, and my father beat him in every race because he was out in the sort of 3rd lap or something.
All his friends, we were really worried in his early days. He was really wild, and with material which was not competitive, he tried his best. But his whole life was always on the limit or over the limit.
Lots of people agree with me, probably was the most talented. He was super talented. And as a friend, he was just a good friend.
Jochen had lots of really good friends like Piers and Jackie, but also obviously there was Nina.
We were 21 years old. I was 20, he was 21. We were kids, really. And he sort of looked at my father and said, could I invite her out tonight? And I said, yeah. And he told me, are you mad? You can't marry a racing driver. You know what they do. They maybe work a few hours a week, and the rest of the time, you know what they do? They sit in bars and look at other women. You want to be married like that?
But Jochen was different. He wasn't like that.
Of course he was.
They were the kind of the posh and becks in some ways. You know, they were both smartly dressed, and Jochen used to wear this big fur coat and very, very elegant. And Nina was just a stunning lady. So, good couple.
In the early stages of the Monaco Grand Prix, Jackie Stewart held the lead for the first 27 laps. It was one of the most thrilling races ever seen on this twisting circuit. Later, Jack Brabham, number 5, took over, but Jochen Rindt of Austria was closing right up in a Lotus. Unlucky Brabham lost the lead on the very last bend when his brakes locked. Rindt flashed through to victory, but Brabham finished second to regain the lead in the World Championship.
Jack was unlucky at Monaco. I think Jack just, I would imagine he was spending too long looking for Jochen in his mirrors. Was over to the right a bit to stop him coming down the inside, and in the end just locked up.
I just couldn't quite get stopped for the last corner and just nudged the fence. But a flag marshal jumped over the fence to push the car back. And when he pushed it, he lost his balance and fell across the nose of the car with his hands over either side. And what do you do? I couldn't very well drive over. I'd have killed him if I'd started off again.
Jackie Stewart and Jochen Rindt, they had some wonderful races together. In my mind, I will always think of Jackie as the greater and Jochen as the quicker.
I thought a lot of Rindt. He was an excellent driver, really, and a good driver that you could drive wheel to wheel with without any trouble.
Among top drivers lined up for the RAC British Grand Prix, John Miles in a Lotus Ford. Denny Hulme in a McLaren. World champion Jackie Stewart in one of the new March races. Austria's brilliant Jochen Rindt in a Lotus Ford. And former world champion Jack Brabham in a Brabham Ford. Veteran driver Brabham led at the start, but he was soon overtaken by Jackie X in a Ferrari. Now Rindt slipped into the lead and Brabham chased him for more than 70 laps. There was seldom more than a narrow gap separating the two. Ten laps from the end, Brabham took the lead again. But within seconds of the finishing line, his petrol gave out due to a leak. Once again, Rindt had snatched victory from the unfortunate Australian. There was more drama when Rindt was disqualified on suspicion of using the wrong type of aerofoil. A trying moment for him, but after inspection, the disqualification was lifted, putting him way ahead in the World Championship Drivers' table.
Was lucky to win when Jack's car sort of stuttered and ran out of fuel, but that was because Nick Guzet had left the thing on full rich when they warmed it up and forgotten to set it back to normal.
The start of the German Grand Prix on the Hockenheim circuit. Jack Brabham, nearest challenger to Jochen Rindt in the World Championship, was left behind. The race developed into a tremendous battle between Belgian Jackie X in a Ferrari number 10 and Rindt showing number 2 on a Lotus. Battling wheel to wheel for nearly an hour and 3/4 in this 210-mile race, their cars were seldom more than a few feet apart. They swapped the lead several times. Both drivers broke the lap record. In the end, Rindt was the winner of this cliffhanger, but only by 7/10 of a second. The Austrian ace now has a commanding lead of 20 points in the championship, with 9 of the 13 point-scoring races already run.
Colin Chapman was a fantastic person in a way, but a designer on his own, which was the best at the time, I have to say. And the best means he always produced the best cars, quickest cars, and took chances with the cars to go quick. And it's logic. When you want to be quick, you have to make sure that the car is light and quick.
You'd have to say the relationship between Colin and Jochen was not good. It definitely was not good. Especially when we came to the early days of the 72, which was not a good car to start with. Colin was insisting that Jochen drove the car, and Jochen actually wanted to stick with the Lotus 49. And there was a lot of friction with Jochen telling us he wouldn't drive the car, and then Colin Chapman telling us he will drive the car.
Chapman, he was a very smart speaker. He said he has a car where he can win easily. It was a Turbine car, four-wheel drive. He says with one hand he can win every race. And he raised his salary, so he decided to do one more year.
And I think the thing that persuaded him was Bernie. And Bernie was sort of his manager, sort of not, another one of his best mates. And Bernie just said, if you want to live, go to Brabham. But if you really want a chance of winning the championship, go to Lotus or stay there.
We stress everything to the limit on our race cars. We find out just what a part will do and how much it will stand, and then we then know what sort of safety limit we can incorporate in our production cars.
All the drivers knew how light and how quick a Lotus could be. We all would have driven it because we want to win, and he wanted to win. And that's it. So everybody knew when you drive a Lotus, this is the risk you take. It's your decision if you want to do it. I would have driven a Lotus, no question, if I can win a championship.
He wanted to win. He knew the other, Brabham and McLaren, were solid cars, but to win a championship, he had to go to Lotus. Then he had his accident in Monza, which in the end did cost his life.
We had a lot of friends in racing in those days. We traveled together. It was like a sort of family circus. It was great fun.
It was early afternoon qualifying. He put the brakes on for Parabolica and the car just speared left. Front brake shaft had just simply snapped. Took the car completely out of his control. Jochen would never ever do up the crutch belts. So when he hit the fence, he torpedoed down into the cockpit. And I think the buckle of the big central buckle of the seatbelt, you know, did very serious damage to him.
After the accident, I went to see what had happened. I run down there, and nobody quite knew what happened, obviously, except he was in bad shape. And they took him to a little sort of Volkswagen bus thing, which was supposed to be an ambulance, which it wasn't. I did travel with him, so I said, I'd go to the hospital. Anyway, on arrival, he was dead.
Jackie went to the track hospital and was appalled to see this flatbed truck alongside the hospital with the body of Rindt on it.
It was a kind of statement of what motor racing was in those days. He wasn't properly dealt with. He, I don't think, had the right equipment to keep him alive.
At that time, in Austria, we didn't have a TV recording, so all of a sudden on radio came the message, a big accident from Jochen, and slowly it came through that he was killed.
No doctor with him, no nurse with him, no priest with him, nobody. Just Jochen Rindt and some bits of sort of bushes and whatnot that had come in from another part of the track. He said it was hard to take in. Here was this man about to become the world champion, and he's dead, and nobody's taking any notice.
It was just another terrible part of the career that at that time was reality. And it just wouldn't happen today.
Even though he missed the last 3 races because he was killed at Monza, still it was enough to, you know, to win him the world championship.
We all felt good, and we were happy that he became champion because he was the fastest and the best driver of this season. So it was just correct that he won the title.
The only man ever to become world champion and never know it.